Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. It is time for another Iron Crafter Challenge hop. I will leave you all the details to this hop down below. I'm also doing this one in conjunction with an International Scrapbooking Day challenge over at A Cherry on Top. So for now, let's go ahead and dive into this project. The Iron Crafter Challenge this time was to focus on scraps, and you can see I have a whole bunch of pattern papers punched off to the side, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I did have this focal photo, and all of those pattern papers I used from the color scheme of the National Scrapbooking Day Challenge, and this photo is pretty neutral, so that will work together. Now here is how I store my scraps. They're in this file bin that's on rolly wheels, so I can pull them in and out. And I went through and chose a whole bunch of scraps in the color palette, and then I got to set with my, it's like 1 3/8 inch square punch, and I punched out as many squares as I thought I would need. I did have to go back and punch out more. I pulled out my paper trimmer to mat my photo, and there was a piece of lime green cardstock sitting there, and for a moment I thought, well, maybe I could use that as part of my photo mat, but I ditch it in the end because I want all the color for this layout to be in the background so that the focal photo kind of sits on top of that, and giving it a black mat is going to help separate it out from all of the color that's going to happen on this layout. All right, I have decided to do an ombre kind of style with all of my paper scraps, both from top to bottom and from left to right. And for me, orange is a very bold color that I think draws the eye more, so I'm going to put that one at the bottom, the purple in the middle, and the green at the top. I'm also putting the lighter tones to the left and the darker tones to the right in general. I'm also giving a curl to each of the edges, just the bottom edge of these squares with my pencil, and that's going to give the whole thing a little bit of lift as I go. Now, some of that will flatten down just a little bit in a page protector, but still, when you give that little curl, it will continue some of its fluff and texture even after it's been put away in an album. So as you can see, I'm kind of spreading out the tones from this kind of light category of oranges. Oh, and here I'm talking about how each section is going to need about 4 inches of coverage, because dividing a 12 by 12 into 3 colors, that gives 4 inches per color. I am going to pop that photo up so that I can tuck all of these little curved bits under there. I do go and draw a pencil line around that photo later so that I don't put a lot of pieces under the photo, because that would just lift it up too much and make it hard to attach to the layout. So I am going to leave a central zone open to attach. Now here I am back with my orange zone and my purple zone done. You can kind of see that pencil line of where I've outlined around my photo. I did for sure have to go back and punch more pieces. This took 9 pieces across and 5 pieces tall to fit overlapping on a 4-inch section. So I do have some leftovers of tones that didn't work here. Like I said, I was trying to mix and match tones so that there was a light zone leading into a darker zone. All right, I was able to keep my bottom and top aligned and flat, but off to the side, I knew I would have to overlap things so that I would offset all of these squares with each other and give a more dynamic look. And that means just doing a little bit of cleanup and trimming at the end. All right, off camera, I used my Cricut to cut out a whole bunch of vellums out of a whole bunch of butterflies out of vellum scraps, and I am just going to give each little butterfly a bit of texture and dimension. I pinch it with my fingernail, and then I bend it up on the left wing and the right wing. Some of my butterflies only have one wing because they're silhouette style, but at any rate, that's going to add a little bit more dimension, and it's also going to help those wings move over the top of some of that fluffed up paper, because it is a little hard to get these butterflies glued down. I did start gluing them down, and then I realized I need to make sure I get my title zone on there, and I did save one of the bigger scraps of vellum to do this with. So I'm going to spread that across my layout with a little tag banner, fishtail banner on one side that I will put the date and a couple of embellishments on, and then the left side will hold my title. All right, here is how I attach those butterflies. Just on the body portion of the butterfly that I didn't bend up, I am spreading a small smear of glue on there. And if you spread it nice and thin and evenly, you won't notice it very much. And then giving those wings a lift helps them move around the curled up paper. Okay, I did my title on my Cricut and it did not go very smoothly. I was having a lot of challenges that I won't explain, but my title has a smudge on it and it doesn't fit quite all the way on my layout. So as you see me trim everything down here from the vellum, you'll see that it cuts off my S on my title just a little bit. I'm gonna roll with it. You've probably heard me say this before. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes on a regular basis, and I'm just gonna leave it because that's how I roll. All right, now I'm trying to figure out where I want to put just a little bit of journaling to kind of explain the title a little bit better, because this is the first time my daughter's been to the Space Needle in Seattle where she remembers it. We took her when she was little, but she doesn't remember it. So I wanted to capture kind of this special moment and tell a little bit of that background. And I did that on a black tag to help carry around a little bit more black on this layout. And I'm doing that with these embellishments here as well, because my title is black, the matting on my photo is black, my journal block is black. And so I have a few black hearts. And what would you ever do with black hearts? I don't know. They've been sitting in my stash for a number of years, and here we go. I got them used up today. So basically those were kind of scraps too from my stash. All right, and that finishes off this layout. Despite this color palette not being my cup of tea, I am really pleased with how this layout came out, and I do like how all of those colors are working together. And I like the texture and the oomph, and as you can see in some of these detail photos, just how pretty it is. So that is my layout today. I hope I have shared something interesting with you. This process did take a little while, but I just want to remind you that you don't have to go all in on a technique like this. You can do a small portion of this kind of thing, maybe as a grounding for a photo, or possibly as a border strip, so you don't have to take it as far as I did. But even with that, I sat and watched some International Scrapbooking Day YouTube videos while I was doing it. I've got more ideas going for my next project. All right, until you see my next project, I hope you have an artful day.